Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back to the BU podcast. And I'm Ira. This is the English podcast made by me, Udin, and my lovely Becky.
Hi, nice to meet you all again.
Becky, I hope you are not bored with my voice.
Oh, it's so annoying. Your voice is so boring. Of course not.
Okay. Well, this is our second episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Becky, in this episode, we will talk about education. Wow.
Oh yes, a very interesting topic.
Yeah, but before we go to our dialogues, please hit the subscribe button. For our listeners, please hit the subscribe button. How to pronounce it? Becky, tell me.
You can say button. You can say button. If you're from England, button.
Okay.
Or you can say button.
Okay, so.
Or if you're from America, just button.
Oh, button.
Yeah, button. Yeah.
Button. Okay, button. And I hope you guys like this video. And after that, please share it to your social media. Okay, let's go into this podcast. Today we have Becky. As always, she is my friend and also a sister for me.
Hi, beautiful Udin. Hello, how are you today?
I'm very great today, but just a little bit Sariawan. I don't know what is in English Sariawan.
Sariawan is ulcers. Tongue ulcer?
Tongue ulcers. Is it? Okay.
Yeah, ulcer. Yeah.
Okay, and now I'm so excited because Becky, just tell the listeners what we have today.
We have a really, really special guest today. We have David from America. Welcome, David.
Thank you for having me on here.
Debbie.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Look, we are both so excited.
I'm glad to be on here too.
Yeah, and we're glad you're here. I hope you enjoy our little conversation that we're going to have. We're going to be talking about education, and we want to know everything you can tell us about education, especially from where you're from. So where are you from, David?
Oh, I am from, a little town called Lexington in the state of North Carolina. It's in the southeast portion of the U.S.
Ah, okay. So have you been there all your life?
All my childhood. Around the age of 20, I left and I didn't come back until about 4 years ago.
Ah, okay. So you haven't been. So you left North Carolina for quite a while then.
Yes. Yeah. Just from time in the Army and then living down in Texas. But yeah, that was a total of, let's see here, about 13 years that I was gone.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So, Udin, should we get to it?
Yeah. Becky, you can give you can give David our questions, and David,
Okay.
yeah, you should answer the questions. Okay.
Okay.
David, okay, my first question. Hang on, David, my first question. David, are you handsome? No.
No, I'm looking kind of homeless right now. I'm glad this is only audio podcast, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
this is only
kidding.
audio.
Okay.
Thank goodness it's only audio.
Okay, David, I'm just kidding. Well, Becky, go ahead.
Okay, David. Well, firstly, it is a pleasure to have you here with us today. So our first question, as we said at the beginning, it will be on education. So our first question is, How important is education in your opinion, David?
In my opinion, I think it's everything. I mean, even just starting off at preschool age, you are imparting knowledge, skills, things that child is going to need growing up, to not just be a responsible adult, but to find their own path in life, what career they want to be. And it's literally raising the next generation of people for your country. So I think education is honestly one of the most important things.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, David. This thing is, in so many countries, like for Indonesia, for instance, so many kids don't get the proper education they need because of, education, the prices, the prices of education. And believe it or not, in Indonesia, it should, like, most schools are free. Okay, most schools are free, like primary and high school. But then you get to like university and that, and yeah, it gets a lot more expensive. So a lot of the kids can't get a proper education here. How about over there? Like, are all the kids able to go to primary school or elementary school, as they say in the US, and then go to high school?
Well, yes. Before the age of 18, you have what we call elementary school, which is basically children aged 5 on up to about 11. And then you have middle school, which is from, about 11 to 14. And then high school, which is 14 till you're 18. And all of that, unless it's like a rich family paying for their child to go to a private school, all the public schools here are free. Well, nothing's technically free. I mean, our tax dollars pay for it and fund it, but we don't pay out of pocket.
Ah, okay, so they're all free. Oh, right. So that's from elementary school to high school free.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the next question. Udin or me? Go ahead. Udin, if you'd like to ask the next question.
Yeah, David. Becky, actually in our country too, as far as I know, in the public school, I mean, what is it in English? But in Indonesia, we say it sekolah negeri. Is it
Yeah,
public
public school, yeah.
Okay. They were also free because our government has a program to make it free. I mean, they have what is that? Dana BOS.
Okay.
For free.
Special funding, right, for education?
Ah. So, is that done through tax dollars or?
I think it could be partly, from tax, that paying for education in public schools. It is free. The last, I think you have to pay for maybe uniforms and books maybe, but I'm not quite sure. What about schools there? Do you have to pay for uniforms and books, that kind of thing?
No, we don't. For one, there's no uniforms. Again, unless you're going to usually, like a higher end private school, which you have to pay for. Public school, I mean, they have a basic dress code. You don't have anything obscene written on your shirts or things like that. But other than that, I mean, like when I went to school, even I would just have, some jeans, my boots, t-shirt.
Oh, they don't. I mean, they don't wear the special uniforms.
Well, no, we don't have uniforms for the school. I mean, there's certain uniforms that like certain electives might have to do, like a marching band or cheerleaders for sports. But everyday average students, no, they don't have uniforms. At least not over here.
Well, that's a lot different to here, right, Udin?
Yeah, you're right. It's very different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. usually primary schools are all the same color. If it's what's primary schools,
white,
white and red, right?
yeah, white and red.
Yeah,
It's for public school.
yeah, for public schools, yeah, and then for
So it's the exact
junior.
it's the exact opposite.
Yeah,
That's
it
what I
is.
was
It is. It's the exact opposite. You guys can wear whatever you want. Well, not exactly whatever you want, but
Yeah.
we have to wear uniforms. And in junior high school, it's for public schools. It's white with a so it's a white shirt with dark blue pants or dark blue skirt. And then for senior high school, it's a white shirt with gray pants or a gray skirt.
So I remember there was one time where the school system where I was living at, because the way school districts are done here, it's not even from state to state, but it's by county to county, which a county is a subdivision of the state here. But the county I was living in, this is back when I was like in 10th grade, so I was about 16. But I remember that they, for about 3 weeks, tried to press the idea of school uniforms. And more than half the students rebelled, would not wear their uniforms. And then, of course, over here, we kind of value individuality and, expression of individuality pretty highly. So there was a number of parents that stood behind their students, agreeing with them that they shouldn't wear uniforms. So the school district just viewed the idea as a complete failure and scrapped it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's very different also to other Western countries like Australia. Even there are uniforms.
Yeah, and I heard that the British, they do the same thing.
Yep, the British do the same thing. Okay, so interesting, David. Odin, next question maybe?
Yeah, I have a question, and I'm so curious about the education system in America, in USA. David, please tell us about your country education system. Please tell us, for the listeners, about the education system in your country.
Well, I might sound overly negative with this, but to be blunt and honest, it's terrible. It's an embarrassment. Especially when you compare, test scores and statistics of students from here to other developed nations like the United Kingdom or Germany. We don't seem to be really teaching the curriculum as it should be. The students aren't really taking it in. There are even some schools over here that are passing students that are failing. That way their school doesn't get a bad ranking. And that, just further complicates it.
Oh my goodness. No, seriously, I didn't imagine. I wouldn't have ever imagined that they would do that kind of thing there.
Yeah, you're right, Becky. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that is an eye opener. Like, I thought, other countries, okay, maybe they might do that kind of thing, but America, of all places, to do that kind of thing. Interesting.
Well, I mean, which part really surprises you? The fact that the scores are low, or the fact that schools would want a higher rating? Because, I mean, a higher rated school is going to receive more funding. When it comes to propositions from, outside elements for students. Like, for example, over here, we have military recruiters that will go to most of the high schools, not younger ages. But of course, if the school's higher rated, it's likely to have, all the branches of the military, or at least the majority of them, which again boosts the school's rating. So a lot of times, it becomes more of a school's priority to figure out, how can I get more funding and how can we raise the school's rating, instead of, how can we best impart knowledge into these children?
Okay, so the priorities, I guess, the priorities are to get funding rather than make these kids smart.
Yeah,
you're
I
right.
mean that's part of it. I mean, there's a whole number of problems. If we talked about it, we would definitely be doing longer than a half an hour podcast. But I mean, you have overcrowded schools to where there are classrooms where there's 42 students and there's one teacher, not even an assistant teacher, because there's a teacher shortage,
Wow.
and that's nationwide.
Wow.
Wow.
Gosh. Well, did you know that, Udin?
Yeah.
You knew that?
Yeah. You know what? I'm so speechless because I thought that school in the USA is really perfect. I meant the education system. But
Well, propaganda is a wondrous thing.
Yeah, I think what we see on the news, what we see on TV, I guess, Udin, I guess it's not true.
yeah, maybe.
Well, it's like I tell a lot of people online. I'm in a number of online chat groups, mainly international ones. And the thing I tell a lot of people, not to smear my country or to make it look bad, but instead of believing things that you constantly see on movies and shows and music, look at actual statistics online, like on Google, and make sure it's like a reputable source, like from the actual government. And then just look up statistics about different things over here. I mean, education being the topic right now. And you can actually just pull up the statistics of, the graduation rates, the dropout rates, funding, all that.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an eye opener. It's an eye opener, David. It really is, because I think people here, especially in Indonesia, think that, or a lot of people think that America is like so perfect, and the education system would be so perfect too. But from what you're saying, it's practically the opposite, and it sounds like it's a little bit of a mess right now. If I could say that.
Well, it's an understatement, but yeah, I mean, the educational system has been kind of in decline ever since the 1980s, and it's just been a steady decline ever since. I mean, just for one, part of it, I think we talked about before, Rebecca. The fact that wages here, not just for teachers, but for a lot of industries and jobs, have stagnated. They haven't gone up any, or if they have, by very little. Whereas inflation has caused the price of everything to double and triple. So of course, back then, a teacher's pay was decent enough for a teacher to want to stay in that profession and continue being a teacher. Whereas now, the pay for most teachers in most states, with the exception of states like California and New York, most teachers aren't paid enough to even want to stay in their job. That's why there's a huge turnover rate where they'll have new teachers, and it's more than a 50% chance that new teacher is going to quit within a year. It's part of the teacher shortage I was mentioning.
That's so sad. Oh, okay. Yeah. A lot to think about from what you've just told us. It makes me think that, Udin, we're lucky to be here. We're lucky to be in Indonesia, Udin.
Yeah.
Looking at the education system in America, we're lucky to be here.
Yeah,
Well,
you're right.
here's the thing I tell a lot of people, is if you're wanting to come here, if you're wanting to live here, the way this country's economic structure is set up, the way the cost of living is here, it really is geared more towards people that are, upper middle class to wealthy. And like me, I'm neither. I would honestly just say I'm lower income. So life, it's not terrible, but it's not easy either, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Oh, wow. Okay. Next question, I guess. Udin?
Yeah. But before I read the questions, I want to comment that I'm so speechless actually from what David said, because I never thought that America has that I'm sorry, that not so good education system. But actually, I have about 5 friends who school there. When high school, their parents sent them to the America, and their parents say that America has a good standard for education system. I don't know why.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe they were lucky and went to a more upscale high school, like one that's either in like an outer suburb of a city. Because that's another thing too that I was mentioning about funding for schools is it's broken down under a lot of things. One is the school's rating. The other is the population of the area around you, and also the land value. So, if you have a high population with a high land value, then obviously those people are paying more in taxes. So they can put more funding into that school.
Yeah. Or maybe they go to America because they want to make their English more better. I mean, better than before, because they can speak with native speaker in America, so their English will be good. It's better than Indonesia. Okay, David, I believe that instead of the weakness, there is also has the strength. So what is the strength of education system in your country?
Well, again, I feel like I'm throwing negatives in with it. But as far as our university systems go, they're some of the top-rated universities in the world. But the problem is they're also the most expensive to go to. And in most cases, the vast majority of Americans can only just stare from a distance and dream.
Oh, that's so sad. So okay, so I'm gonna get on to this, Udin, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's okay.
Talking about the prices, can you tell us what would be the average tuition fee to go to university or to go to college there?
Are we talking about a cheap, easy to get into college, or are we talking like a high-end university where you're going for 4 to 8 years?
Let's start with the cheaper universities.
Well, I mean, cheaper universities would be about, for 1 year, I mean, this isn't even going to your degree, but for 1 year, between $8,000 and $10,000.
Wow, $8,000 and $10,000 per year?
Yes.
Whoa.
And if you're going for... Well, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Please, go ahead.
I was just saying, if you're going for a higher end university, like Duke University here in North Carolina, it's one of the top rated medical universities in the country. An average tuition for 1 year there is $57,000.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So it is only for the wealthy. And, some people will be like, well, that's okay. I'll just go do my med school at this small university over here. Well, even there, if you're getting like a medical license, you're still going to be paying almost $20,000 altogether. And once you get your degree from that lower, lesser known university, any big major hospital is not really going to want to touch you. You'll either be working in some small town hospital, not making much money, or as, a general practitioner, just a doctor in a clinic.
Wow. So if you, I guess it's saying, you're saying that if you want to have a better job, if you want to have a better future, it'd be better if you went to a more well-known, expensive university. But to go to those universities, you have to have like all the money in the world.
Yep. And that's why such a high percentage of the population here does not have a college or university education. I know I had one person from Europe I was arguing with online, and he was trying to say that, oh, it's because the people there are lazy and don't care. And I'm like, no, it's because people can't afford it. Like,
yeah. Like, that's crazy. $57,000 for a year in college or uni. Wow.
I'll say this to you and all of your viewers: if you doubt that, just look online. You know, there's the actual web pages for these universities. Just go to Duke University's homepage. That's right there in Durham, North Carolina. And of course, they'll have everything listed of what they offer for courses and what everything costs. And prepare to feel your jaw hit the ground.
Will do. I'm gonna check that out later. Okay, so like listening to that, Udin, what does that make? Like, how do you feel about our education tuition fees here? What do you think?
Well, you had actually showed me this earlier, and the fact that the higher end degree, like for an expensive university, there is like $6,100. Like, oh my God, I wish that was here. Like, are you kidding me?
A huge difference, right? Huge difference.
I mean, you know, with me, with my love for history and politics, I mean, I would have gone to at least law school if that option was even available for me.
Yeah, I can totally understand. Okay, Udin?
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
No, I'm just shocked.
Yeah, me too. I'm gobsmacked.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gobsmacked. I'm shocked. I can hardly believe that, you know, this country that we're talking about, that we think it's like the best and the education is the best. It turns out
Yeah.
not so.
Well, I will say this: there's no country out there that is the best. I mean, there's countries that rank up high on a number of things. Like, at least, you know, for the United States, I can say, you know, I'm proud of the fact that we have, you know, freedom of speech, you know, to where if we disagree with something, even our government, we can stand up and say it loudly how much we don't like it and how much we disagree, you know, like protests and whatnot. You know, so I mean, I'm grateful that we can do things like that here, that there's, well, a lot of places around the world that, you know, that you get in a lot of trouble, you know, and then, you know, just there's like things like, well, at least for now anyway, you know, freedom of religion, where you can either be of any religion you want to be a part of, or, you know, not be a religion at all. Whereas there's many countries where, you know, you can't do that. So in some ways, I do stay grateful for things, but I will say, at least for over here, I do have a lot of criticism, and it's not out of hate. It's more out of a wish that things could be better, and that people will have a conversation about it.
Well, David, honestly, it was so interesting talking to you tonight, this evening. We listeners will learn a lot too, and because the time's up,
It's over.
and I wish we could like talk until midnight. It's very interesting.
That's fine. Thank you for having me on here. I would say thank you for having me on here, and hopefully I didn't ramble too much.
Oh no, it's our pleasure.
Yeah.
Our pleasure, right, Udin?
Yeah, you're right. I'm really happy to have you, David.
Yes,
well, thanks.
me too.
If you guys ever want to do this again, I am 100% open to it.
Okay, great.
So, okay, thank you, David.
Thank you, David. Thank you also, Udin. Thank you, all the listeners.
Thank you.
And,
Hope you.
and thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stay happy,
yes.
stay healthy, David, Becky.
You too, guys.
Okay.
Yep.
So I hope our listeners could get benefits from our discussion. And once again, please make sure you like and subscribe this channel and share to your social media. I'm Udin and
I'm Becky.
and
Oh, I'm David.
thank you guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.